Okay, thank you very much, guys, for hanging back. I'm excited. I'm keen to share a bit of a journey that I went on many years ago now. I don't have any brothers. I've got two sisters. They're great. Yeah. Mateship's very important to me. Because I just don't have a brother. I don't have that connection. One of the iconic, very important moments in my life was when a dear friend of mine, Ben, said to me, will you please be the godfather to not just one, but two of his boys. So he came back for more. He came back for a second and third. So must have been doing something, right? I wasn't interested in just being a godfather by name. As we all know, there are titles in this world, but there are also actions. And I wanted to be as best as I could be to be a godfather. So one day he came along and straight away, as you know, with a good friend, something's wrong, something's different. Look, he just came out and said his boys have ADHD. Oh, yeah, both of them. Look, this is a journey of discovery and learning. I'll be honest, I just thought his wife had been on Facebook a bit too much. I've been hearing school hasn't been so good for boys of late. I've been thinking of starting my own family, so I've been just picking up some of this stuff and going, it's just energetic boys. Like that's it. This whole world is against energetic boys that just want to do some stuff, not just talk all the time. Yeah, like it was hard to just try and be natural and like just try to hear him out a little bit, and it was a process. Well, I mean, it took a minute and a few beers, and I still didn't believe him. It's just like, why does that happen? What does he mean? I know these kids. I know he knows these kids. Like, what is he seeing that I'm not seeing? Where did this come from? I mean, well, okay, sure. They do interrupt a lot. Actually, they're spaced 3 years, like three.
The age is.
Well, yeah. One was 9. One was 9. One was 6. But I mean, they'd have friends over, and so I'd seen their kids' friends at parties and the like, and I mean, okay, they do interrupt a lot. Actually, they never stop talking, like ever. But I mean, they just talk. Like, who doesn't like to talk shit? And like, you're living your best life, just playing games. Yeah. I mean, and what? Now that I think about it, the game of catch probably lasted 10 passes before a lightsaber got introduced and a request to go on the swings instead or go bug hunting, and the swing stopped, and now we need to go bug hunting, and it's just the catch. Can we just you say you want to be play for this play for this group, and okay, well, look, it's just kids. They're just energetic boys. It's not a big deal. Yeah. I mean, well, okay, well, sure, they never finished any of those kid board games that they asked for at Christmas, and like not once. Yeah. But they're a bit of bullshit, aren't they? They'll look razzmatazz, but actually, sitting there doing boring bits and pieces. I mean, who actually wants to finish that? Yeah. Well, okay, their friends did, at the same age, but that doesn't mean anything. It's not. No. How does that go from there to that? That's not it, right? I mean, well, okay, well, actually, they never finished a single colouring in page. Oh. Like it's completion. Yeah. I mean, it's don't finish it all. It's not a big deal. No. I mean, they wanted to finish it. Well, they said they did, and they just changed their mind. Well, actually, they never actually even finished one of their favourite movies that they wanted to watch. That was their favourite, that they were excited for. that they've been out running around in the wet all day, all exhausted, well, their form of exhausted, and you sit them down and make a cup and go, all right, we can just have that kind of family Sunday, lazy afternoon.
Yeah.
Then they'd make it. There'd always be something to do that was not important. That was not even sometimes that interesting. I mean, is that, are we seriously, is that what we're talking about? So, ADHD, apparently, this is what I'm learning, it can look like restless, fidgety. Okay. What, like, is that really a problem? Okay, you can be a bit outspoken. You can interrupt. You can have look, you've got more to share, right?
Yes.
I mean,
There's a lot more people.
okay, maybe you could wait till another time, or maybe it's not your turn, or maybe someone else is talking and you're actually being quite rude, but like we eventually picked this up, right? Everyone forgets things. I forgot to bring my bits and pieces for my practical just before I had to duck out and get it. It's like everyone forgets things. Let's say, well, they can look like is they're forgetful, they're a daydreamer, they can't concentrate. Who's not emotional? Who's not emotional? But they say that they're more emotional when they can't rein it in. Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay. Late rushed. They've trouble with time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Okay. Let's just take it for what it is. That's what it can look like, even though that's what everyone can look like most of the time.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's almost the opposite of the restless fidgety.
Well, you're not committing.
No.
You said you wanted to do this.
Yeah.
You said you wanted to follow it through, and you wanted to see a completed Lego project.
Yeah.
You wanted to get this grade to go to this class.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to save up to buy this thing. You're just not committed. You just don't want it.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's what they say it can look like. So the general definition, ADHD, so I'm told, is a problem with self-regulating effort, emotions, memory, time.
Mm.
Okay. All right, fine. Whatever, tick the box. Okay. Let's pretend, let's just say we just completely accept it, like it's dyslexia or depression. It's a thing. Okay, some people have it. I think, maybe half of it's a cop-out, but who knows? Some of it's a thing. So what? Why am I telling you this today? Restless, agitated, outspoken, fidgety. What does that look like? What does that look like for people who need a job? What does that look like for people who need to survive in a world where you need to be productive? What does that look like when you can't do the bookwork to, be a lawyer?
Yeah.
There are definitely ADHD lawyers, by the way, but there's just not as much.
Yes, there's
Not as much. So if all the ADHD people aren't in bookkeeping and administration and accountancy, where are they?
musicians.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know. Mum said it was fun.
They're here. They'll be in your classrooms.
Yeah.
And they won't always be the most complex or challenging student, but they could very well be one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be in your classrooms. When Con's video talked about loving your students, they're not talking about loving the easy ones.
Yeah, you're right on.
We're loving the hard. You need to love the hard ones. And not only do you need to love the hard ones, you need to understand them.
Yeah.
And that gives you a chance to let your ego go. Con is always chill. He's a chill guy, isn't he? Rolls with the punches,
To a degree. Yeah, Elroy, yeah.
rolls or
I
slips,
always roll with my
bobs and weaves.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes, I haven't seen it today because we're all pretty respectful. I
Yeah.
bet you he can take a shot, swallow that,
Mhm.
and follow on with what's important with the class instead of making it a conflict. Because as he's told us, it will just destroy the room.
It will. Yeah, not just the one person.
So that's what we're here to do. We're here to understand ADHD. So it's a problem with regulating emotions and our effort. Why do we need to regulate our emotions in that?
We need to conform,
Yeah, to a degree.
otherwise we can't be all indentured servitude to the matrix.
Yes, correct. Yeah, yeah.
Quota.
We all need to conform. So we need to agree on path.
Yeah, structure.
The structure, this direction.
We need to
Order.
we need to sort of decide on a few things that are a few rules, a few boundaries. We need to achieve a goal that's a little higher than what our basic instincts allow for.
Mm.
That's why we don't act like 2-year-olds now. It's called the power of abstraction, and it's mainly achieved through the frontal cortex, which is one of the big distinctions from animals to humans. The power of abstraction, literally creating virtual avatars of ourselves, playing them out in the real in a simulated world, and going, oh, that does not look good. I think I will do this thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my boss is annoying. Yes, he just put me through double time that didn't need to be done, and I'm late for something. No, I'm not going to tell him what I think of him right now, because I've played it out in my head. I've seen where it goes, and I don't like that road. It's the power of abstraction. So that's why we regulate our emotions and our effort. So how do we do it? One, we draw upon stored memories. Memories are here and here, yeah? Sometimes here. And
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
we pay attention to how we behave. Self-awareness.
Self-awareness, that's it. That's important. Yeah.
Yeah, what? Yeah, self-awareness. We talk to ourselves all the time.
Yeah, true.
All the time. We talk to ourselves constantly. So how do we regulate our emotions, our effort? We draw upon stored memories, upon words, images and symbols, spoken and written. Images, what we've seen before, also what we've had described to us. Who hasn't had a boogeyman story in their childhood? It's a powerful image. It's a powerful emotion. It's a powerful memory. It's to give us a cornerstone to conduct ourselves differently to than what we would do. Historic feelings. You might not remember the time. You might not really quite remember the place if it's a vague enough memory, but the last thing you forget, and you often don't, is how it made you feel.
Yeah, you're right, exactly.
Emotional memories. So we draw upon stored memories. This should be actually number 2. Number 2 of how we regulate our emotions is we visualize future goals. So we actually manifest a reality that isn't there. We create fake motivation when there's no outside consequences.
Yeah.
Number 2, pay attention. What's the plan? Where are we going? What's my goal?
And you create these sort of videos in your head.
You play it out.
At the end of this, I'm going to talk to all these guys that are going to get their certificates, and you're going to be happy. We have a drink, and you have this like video, like watching a YouTube video in front of.
I'm a young father now, and my salient goal is people, my sons and wife enjoying our company when we're old.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
genuinely enjoying our
There it
company
is.
at
It's
dinner.
like looking into the
That's
future.
that's the goal.
That's fantastic.
That's my goal.
Mm.
We pay attention to what we're paying attention to. We have parts of our brain that actually overlook, like an executive, like a manager, what we're paying attention to. If you've ever read a book, like you don't notice it until you notice it's not working. Like if you've read a book and then all of a sudden you're thinking of a movie or something else. Like, and this happens quite deep in the level of like our awareness. We also pay attention to time. Pretty simple. You either do or you don't. And a little hint: ADHD people really struggle. What's ahead? How long has it been? Have priorities changed? You need to constantly update because we're in a time lived experience. I don't know much about it, but it's still pretty important from what everyone else tells us.
Yeah.
Self-talk. Number 3, we talk to ourselves.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves what we should do. We literally tell ourselves what we should do.
I do that.
Manifest it.
Yeah.
We do it a lot on many levels. We do it a lot getting out of bed, but we also can do it a lot as a explicit action. Athletes, sports athletes, visualization. So we actually know. Let's go with this. It starts at a young age. Little kids, they talk out loud. Pretty garbled, but it starts to distill down into something a little bit more understandable.
Yeah.
And they actually narrate what they do.
It's true.
But it transitions. We actually never stop doing that. We just stop saying it out loud.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, mostly.
Yeah.
When you're alone, if you pay attention, it comes out.
It does. One of the girl I worked with there, Nadia, she was sitting there and she go, oh, and she'll say, you see her, the officer's quiet, she goes, I'm going to make sure I copy this, I'm sure I'll paste this, I'm going to make sure I do this. And she doesn't realise she's saying it. And often we laugh. She says some silly things.
And not to
not talking out loud.
not to trivialize her,
No.
but that's what like a 3-year-old will do playing on the kitchen, the play kitchen and stuff, or the 4-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
So we actually know from brain activity scans that talking to ourselves from a brain level manifests all the way up to the mechanical vocalization.
Yeah,
So we still talk to ourselves when we're doing things.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's
So that's how we regulate. That's how we be our own boss with our brains. So it's principally the prefrontal cortex, but there's other areas, these specific areas. So they make the provision, they make it possible for us to do all that regulation, all that management.
Yeah.
So once you've got the lay of the land, then you can learn it. So it's kind of like you can't learn to ride a bike if you don't have all the wheels. Like it's, if you don't have 2 wheels.
exactly.
So the brain, so correctly developed brain, hint, that's where this is going.
Yeah.
Specific areas that are developed correctly allow for these functions, so we can then learn it. To learn it, you need to remember it.
Yeah.
You need to be able to recall it. What good's a memory if you don't remember it when you need it? Who's been to the shops and then gotten home and remembered, I needed that.
Man.
The other
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's no good. It's no good to you now.
Still got a shopping app.
Yeah. And you got to remember to put it in.
Yeah.
Remember to turn on. Remember to charge your phone. Remember to bring your phone. Remember to put it in the.
Exactly.
I do it with my wife. She asks for a cup of tea. By the time I go to the kitchen, I'll come back with the beers.
My training on the Freudian slips is next week. Stay tuned. So we practice. We also practice. It's partly alert behavior and it's partly the brain structure as well. So a lot of this is actually practiced on your own. It's actually part of the growth of a child. I don't have the hard science. I haven't looked too much into it because there's a lot of social factors, mimicry and behavior and all that.
Yeah.
And we also, go pick up the toys, now put them in there, now close this, now wash your hands. So it's a bit of a hybrid. but we sure as hell practice it, that's for sure.
Excellent.
Takes 30 years. You don't stop developing these functions, these regulation managements up until you're 30. If you have a typical brain, if you're neurotypical, it doesn't, not everyone makes it to 30. It's a hard road. And then it just gets easier. It's a fancy way of saying easier. You stop noticing it. You tend to really only notice it if you're not doing it well, if you're tired, if you have pulled an all-nighter, if you're stressed, if you're not eating right, or if you're partying too hard, that sort of thing. So that's how the typical brain does it. It's not that you don't notice it, it's that so much of it is behind the scenes. Okay. Fundamentals. Simple. ADHD is about the brain. Okay. It's how the neurons in the brain work. And how an ADHD brain works is different. Who knows anything about neurons?
They're like little movement, like little electrical pulse type things.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like a neuron branch here.
Oh, yeah. Texas, should have used mine. Grab one's on the desk.
Oh no, I'm going to show off.
Oh, you're sharp. Oh,
Or am I?
speaking.
I'm going.
That's been showing off. Oh, well, good.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
So I never got around to remembering how many there are, but there are a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of neurons, and they all try connect or try to connect, except they don't connect. So this is the synapse, two neurons kind of ends shunt together, except they don't connect. They don't fuse. This is brain liquid,
Oh.
and it goes in between it. Sparky's in the room. Good connection when you've got something in between. It obviously depends, but
Yeah.
ideally you just want it to go straight through. So you've got your electrical impulse, goes in, it hits about there, and then it starts to transform or transpose into neurochemicals, neurotransmitters, mainly dopamine and serotonin. Present in here are already some neurochemicals like dopamine and serotonin. So there's like a passive state.
Yeah.
That electron comes through and just
Boom. Come on, mate.
kicks these bad boys out and through here. And then these receptors get a little bit excited. They get a little wiggle. And then that pushes them back. And the electron comes back out the other way. So there are ports here that also suck back in the neurochemicals once they've had a little kick out. Kind of recycles itself. So that's how it works. Well, that's how it's meant to work. Meant. So I hate people that do this, but I was over it. Here's a low resolution. I can't stand it, and here I am. But it is. So ADHD is a difference of. There are three main ways ADHD creates a problem. The sending of neurons may not release enough neurotransmitters. The receiving neuron. How does the kick? I don't know. The receiving neuron may have trouble just noticing, just catching those neurotransmitters,
Right.
those receivers,
Yeah. That's what's there.
noticing that they're there.
Um,
And lastly, there just might not be enough.
Yeah.
This might not be enough in between, in the juice. Just be a cup with half the juice.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what they're dealing with.
yeah. Interesting.
So, to recap, ADHD is the dysregulation of effort, emotions, memory, sense of time.
That's interesting.
But we all,
But dysregulation is it's not quite normal regulation.
everyone gets sad sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, life is suffering.
Mm.
Every one of us has experienced tremendous pain, hardship.
Mm.
But not everyone has clinical depression.
Yeah, you're right, yes.
Everyone has intrusive thoughts. When I was first, in selection for Godfather, and you're holding this thing, it's like,
Yeah.
this is unreal.
Yeah.
Drop the baby. What? What was that? That was stupid. Where did that come from? You ever think about what would happen if I just on the freeway just
Yeah. People do that. Yeah. Yeah.
get that feeling? Intrusive thoughts. Everyone has intrusive thoughts. Not everyone has psychosis. Not everyone is schizophrenic.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, so ADHD is the profound dysregulation of emotions, effort, memory, sense, time. Effort, like focus and attention. There's nothing more motivating than the external factors.
Yeah. Bear chasing you on a bike.
If you don't have the external factors, you have to drive it from within. Motivation is not willpower. It's a function of chemical brain action. I'm not saying that willpower isn't real. I'm not saying that you don't have agency and you can't make good choices, but a large part of it is neurochemistry, motivation. Starting effort and sustaining effort, I've separated those because we know that they're different chemically. The dopamine responses when you visualize something are lower for people with ADHD. It's not as effective. The dopamine responses for like gratifying yourself are much higher for people with ADHD. So they have trouble getting past those initial withholdings of things. Self-control and discipline, the same thing. Visualizing, emotional, quicker to perceive negative emotions. We'll have trouble with this, but at the end of the day, it is a function of sections of your brain saying it's not important. It's not important. So it's really, really challenging to manage. It's hard to let go of slow emotions. They have a greater effect on you. And rejection sensitivity. Who here hasn't been horribly crushed? You, Con?
Yeah,
I've been horribly crushed.
it's incredible. I have, years ago.
At some point, we pick ourselves up and we have to let go. But these things are hard to let go of. Paying attention is also hard.
Oh, thank you. Oh, good.
Memory issues, time blindness.
Drugs.
Memory issues and time blind. Oh, well, look, that's another episode. We're going to.
Thank you.
We can all have samples later.
Oh, yes.
Working memory, holding multiple things in your mind and manipulating.
Now I saw what he did.
Did you?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Working memory is a really tough one. It's hard to reduce working memory if you have nominal working memory. But everyone has a nonna, everyone has a grandma, everyone has a grandpa, or an age senior in their community that walks into the room and for life of them, do not remember what it is. What they have in their book. It does happen to all of us, but you can see it more. You can see it constantly. And unfortunately, most people with ADHD have reduced working memory. They simply cannot hold as many. I can't actually.
Yeah, it's hard to juggle. Oh,
The light. It was the light.
The light, yes.
It was the light.
Yeah.
They simply can't hold as many things actively in their mind, especially when they're not that important. Take a left at the do turn and go this way, and don't forget the celery. Like it doesn't work as well for them, and they have reduced capacity. So there's so many things about it: verbal, non-verbal, internal speech, objects, and time blindness. This one's a little tricky if you don't have issues in regards to this. You think of it like glasses. It's crystal clear. The now is crystal clear for people that suffer from ADHD, but they just can't. It just gets blurry. They just can't. They can't focus on it. They can't perceive it accurately.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy to forget because it's so hard to make sense of, to actually see. Where in the now is crystal clear. So that's where they live.
And so essentially older type people don't or can't get ADHD or. Okay.
Most common. It's the most common. Where was I? Where was the seminar for me when I was thinking
Yes,
that Mrs. Ben was off the deep end? It's the most common disorder. It can present for the first time in adolescence or adulthood.
Wow.
But it's a lot more reduced because it's neurochemistry and it's brain development. So if something can have effect on your brain, this can happen. Boom. Facts.
Whoa.
Just some of the references. But I'm serious. This is a serious topic, and I want you guys to feel comfortable with this understanding so that you can move forward with just a grain of foundation on this.
Because as much as I say, a lot of people say, ADHD, no, we never had that word, kids.
And it's understandable, right? Because
that's what I see.
because the symptoms, we can all relate to them. We all forget things. We all get restless. We all want to talk out of turn. We all want to eat that next piece of cake,
Yeah.
that next ciggy.
But you're right. You're right. Yeah.
This is where it gets a bit grim. ADHD is often comorbid with one or more disorders. It varies against the age gap, the age bracket. Around 65% of those with ADHD also have another disorder. Oppositional defiant disorder, ODD, is the most common for children, 46%. ODD is simply someone pushing back on someone that they perceive as an authority, even if it gets in the way of what they want. Cut your nose to spite your face. That's what ODD is.
But somehow I've heard of that.
You may want to remember this if you guys are going to go on the front line in your training and shape tomorrow's generation. Psychologically hardwired to oppose authority.
Yeah.
What does Con do? Just think about how he presents. He doesn't strongman it. He's like water. Bruce Lee, be like water. Because conflict,
It's that inch punch that kills me.
conflict is like Minesweeper. You know, if you step on it, you're just going to ruin the game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Learning disabilities. These are the kids that are going to be in your class. These are the adults that are going to be in your class. 40% of children with ADHD compared with 5. Conduct disorder. That's really grim. It's a subset of ODD. You basically, the chance of you doing hard time in prison is astronomical. Conduct disorder. Anxiety, 18% compared with 2. Depression, 14% compared with 1. Speech problems, 12% compared with 3. And 25% of people with autism are also diagnosed. Boom, facts.
Wow.
Feel free to look into it. You can have the slides, and then there's so many studies. It's the most researched topic that we have in neurology. Highly heritable. But it's about the brain developing. So if you might not have the genes, but you can have a suboptimal developing environment, it can happen a few ways. So they say 10-40%, you acquire it. You're not born with it as genes, you acquire it. For example, if your family's still just loving lead products and you grow up in that, say maybe you're in a poor country.
Yeah. Wow.
Estimated to be 5.3% worldwide. 5%. What's that? 5%, 1 in what? 20?
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
How big is the average class? 15?
Yeah. Everyone's only. Yeah.
And in the trades, ADHD is so heritable. It's equal with some of the highest inheritable characteristics. The only one higher is height. It's just behind height, the heritability.
Oh, wow.
A lot of people, a lot of parents are getting diagnosed at these 30s, 40s, because the knowledge has moved forward in the health network for education and kids. Now parents are getting diagnosed.
Right.
Where ADHD symptoms are causing significant impairment after careful professional expert considerations. First option, first port of call, medication for children 6 years or over should be stimulants. First line of approach, because it's neurochemistry.
Yeah.
Stimulants, dopamine, serotonin, neuroadrenaline. It just goes in here.
Yeah.
It's just trying to level the playing field. And it's just the start. No one should feel ashamed for taking stimulants if they have diagnosed ADHD. You literally have to have a different brain.
Have there been studies on diet?
On diet?
Yeah.
Well, diet can affect anyone here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some of these kids have a little bit too much sugar or something.
That's right. That's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Well, like it's too much sugar is not going to help anyone, right?
No, regardless of what. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one of the challenges in community acceptance is the symptoms are very similar to normal symptoms of challenges we have with diet and things like that. But it's an extenuation of that. So if you've got ADHD and you're having too much sugar, it's going to be a problem. Ironically, a bit of sugar, if you're not medicated, will actually help this a little bit.
But not. It's about the
But your dopamine like addiction responses for sugar it's just terrible. It's just so hard. It's just be so hard.
Just
No
seems
different.
like
Yep.
the chemical companies sort
yeah.
of
Totally.
Yes.
pushing big farms and everyone's making a profit.
Yeah.
All
It
these
does.
kids taking up.
Absolutely. It was
Yes. Well,
this medication wasn't invented for this treatment. They just had it.
it was then I thought this would work. Yeah. I got you. Yeah. I got you.
You're absolutely right. And that's one of the hardest things. And like that's a reasonable challenge. I don't have the capacity to explain to you further what this is, but I can show you the books that I've got this out of, and it is out of control. It is just out of control, and the brain's still a bit of a mystery. But what we know is that medication does help.
Yeah.
We know it helps. It's irrefutable. It makes them be able to self-govern themselves. It makes them if they have a dream, if they have a vision, if they want to finish a Lego project, if they want to work on being something that requires a delay of gratification, requires them to stick at something that's not going to work out straight away, it gives them the chance to do that.
Yeah, I got you. It doesn't actually calm them down as they say.
It does. No, it will.
Yeah, because that's what people worry about.
Yeah. So
It allows them.
if you don't have ADHD and you take this, you won't be calm. It won't calm you down. But if you do, at the right dosage, it at the right dosage. I pulled the slide because I'm trying to cut it down.
Yeah.
But if you imagine a curve graph, anyway, it's just a science graph that says, here's the sweet spot. If you have ADHD and you take the correct amount of stimulation, it will calm you down. But you'll be grateful because you'll be tormented by your inability to apply yourself the way that you thought you wanted to when you sat down to read that book,
Yeah, I've got you. Yeah.
to do that study, because you wanted to be a scientist, because you wanted to be a lawyer, because your dad did, but you wanted to make him proud, whatever. But to be able to lay that gratification. Same for adults.
Yeah.
Same for adults. It's the first approach. It is the most, it's literally the most successful medication for neurodevelopmental disorders the world's ever seen in terms of percentages and the like.
Yeah.
The long-term data is just irrefutable. And we know why.
Yeah. You can see.
Stimulant treatment does not increase the risk of substance abuse disorders compared with people who do not access stimulant medication. People with ADHD can result in positive outcomes for those with co-occurring substance use disorders, including reduced substance abuse. Well, if you have ADHD, maybe that's why maybe that's been helping you.
Yeah.
It's called self-medicating.
Yeah.
Every other footy athlete uses it as a cop-out when they get caught, right?
That's seriously.
It's real. It's real. That's what I'm here to tell you. I'm just here to try and move forward, give you a comfortable bit of knowledge, to feel comfortable with understanding that it is a real thing.
Yeah.
Because it will help you if you can understand it. If you can understand it, you can believe it. And if you can believe it, you can show love and acceptance for behaviors that you will see if you continue on your training career. It's serious. There's a host of reasons why behaviors happen in people, and unfortunately, it gets worse if it's not treated very well. It is an impairment. The brain is specifically different, and it's harder for these executive functions to work. There's a scale. Some people it's holds them back. Some people they're like missing a leg.
Yeah.
It is very treatable, like I mentioned. The data is huge. Medication is almost everyone gets some benefit. Almost every ADHD person gets some benefit out of medication. Most get a lot. This just starts to give you the capacity to then make better choices. Just behave in the way that you want to be. There's lots of strategies which I don't have time to go into. To just break up your workload, stretch, diet diet's always a factor. Strategies to timers and reminders. It's a huge thing, but it's just step one. It's absolutely not the be all and end all. Social media, ADHD. Sometimes you can get hyper focus. You can just be completely driven on one thing. There are a lot of successful people with ADHD, and maybe their trials and challenges push them into a specific area, so that they were able, because they had no choice, to achieve great things. But as a general rule, it's not a superpower. People have achieved things in spite of their brain functioning, not governing themselves. It's not caused by too much video.
Yeah, which is what people say.
It's just that it's the perfect stimulation for people with ADHD. There's almost universally a phenomenon in ADHD is with the correct amount of environmental stimulation and consequences and interest and right now timeliness. This kind of self-percolates and it kind of comes good. Enough of that's a little bit of last minute stress. Dire consequences. Choose your own adventure. Video games. People with ADHD actually fall into like optimal performances, and they can actually really outperform their normal state. not caused by lazy parents. It just isn't. It's neurochemical.
Yeah.
It's heritable. That you can do the gene studies. You can do brain studies. So you can do brain scans. It's just not required because you can just see it. It's like schizophrenia.
Yeah.
You don't need to have your brain scanned to show that you have aspects of your brain that have got issues.
Yeah.
You can just see it. So you can scan your brain to prove that your brain's substantively different, which would be the ADHD thing. If you take all the people that are diagnosed with ADHD, you scan their brains and you even out the differences in height and size, and you still got it all down. Their brains are slightly different shapes.
Right.
And sometimes they often just a fraction smaller.
Wow.
So you can't figure it out one person to one person, but they're actually different. It's not lazy parents.
So
I
it's
mean-
like living permanently fourth trimester of pregnancy.
Yeah.
Or menopause, premenopausal,
Yeah.
where you just can't remember.
And I understand that because there's no fin.
Yeah, that's right. I saw you said, yeah. They got the, is that,
Okay, 46 minutes. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, take it offline. Let's let these other people go.
really,
Thank you.
With that 46 minutes, you're right on. Stop. That was that. What you guys start picking up, but as you pick it up, give you all these, of course. Right. Great, fascinating topic. Good voice, good tone. Well done. There's some interesting little bits here. The style was really good. Yeah, you made it really. I get that. It was really good style. But I did like how you kept it moving. You created a lot of interest. That was really important. You answered all your questions, but disruption was amazing because you didn't actually say con. You shit the stop it, right? What you just did was only ball. That was gold. So the disruption was perfect.
Well, you're fidgeting, and I happen to be a bit of a expert in handling fidgeting.
One thing yeah. One thing you did do is which I really enjoy. Yeah. Which, as I said before.